I've been hiking for just over 2 hours. This is Fordyce Creek. These are a nice set of falls. This is a popular area to stop, have lunch. Day hikers turn around here. It's just a really nice place to be. I've got camp all set up. First thing I do is filter water, so I'll have enough for dinner, maybe even in the morning. So now it's time to get shorts on, fishing shoes on, and go fly fishing in Fordyce Creek. Here it is, Wednesday morning. It's about 40 degrees, maybe a little bit below. Nice night. The stream is beautiful as it looks. Really kind of sucks for fishing. It doesn't seem to be very productive fish-wise. But it's a beautiful place to camp. So I'm going to go make my coffee and eat some breakfast. When things dry out a little bit, I'll pack up and hit the trail. I've got my first cup of coffee made. Probably only going to have one. Little Snow Peak Gigapower stove. But what a place to have coffee. Real coffee, not instant coffee. Real coffee. Something I really enjoy. You just don't sacrifice when it comes to drinking coffee, even in the wilderness. This is the beginning of day 2. As you can see, I picked everything up from, camp. I've got my pack all loaded. I've left the area just as I found it. I made one last look around. Haven't left any items behind, which is always a good thing to do because it's very easy to leave something behind. It was kind of nice, cooking and dining streamside. Nice atmosphere. Well, I'm ready to go. I believe this is Canyon Creek, comes down from the Grouse Ridge area. It can be early in the season, difficult to cross. I did a test crossing last night without a pack, and I found enough rocks to hop across without getting wet. And then later in the summer, I believe this almost totally dries up. But right now, I think I'm going to cross and continue on. Well, I just crossed without incident, which is always good news. It'd be very easy to slip on a rock and fall in. Here we are at the junction of two trails. We're on the Spaulding Lake Trail, and this trail is a connector trail that connects the Beyers Lakes Trail to the Spaulding Lake Trail. Spaulding Lake Trail continues on to Eagle Lakes, which are about a mile ahead. Here's the trail sign, and as you can see, Eagle Lakes is 1 mile. Beyers Lake Trails, it said 1 mile, but they scratched that out and carved in a 2. If you look on a map, it is about 1 mile. It just feels like 2 because it's mostly uphill. So I'm going to get started going, and because of its low usage, the trail can be kind of obscure and difficult to follow in places. Well, I've reached the junction of the trail climbing up to Beyers Lake Trail, Here's the sign giving you some mileage. To Beyers Lake is 3 miles. Someone felt compelled to scratch it too. They're wrong. The trail coming up was pretty rough, kind of obscured in a few areas, but I was able to more or less follow the trail. The climb up actually wasn't that bad. I wish I would have timed it so I would have known how long it took to climb up. But to climb up, I had donned the sweatband. It really absorbs sweat, keeps sweat from getting into your eyes. The problem is when sweat in itself would be bad enough, but it's also mixed with insect repellent. It makes for very unpleasant hiking. I forgot to mention that our goal on the hike today is it's an area that's between this trail junction and Beyers Lakes. We're going to explore and photograph some Indian petroglyphs. I discovered those on a hike in, last year, May of 2012. So we're going to go take some time to look at them, photograph them, and I just didn't have the time to do that last year, so we're going to do it on this trip. Arrived at the petroglyphs, I was able to find them. Very, very faint. You could easily walk by these and never see them. So I'm going to scout around and look for more of them and take some still photos. Here's what they look like. Well, I'm down at Beyers Lakes now, and when I get here, this is something I see that I don't really care for. This is a fire ring, and as I was walking by it, I look inside and there's aluminum foil. Aluminum foil is garbage. If you pack it in, pack it out. Fire rings really should not be considered trash barrels. So let's all kind of try to do our part to keep the backcountry clean. Now I've picked this up, so I'm going to actually put it in my pack and carry it home and dispose of it properly. Shouldn't have to do this, but I am. Here I am at Upper Beyers Lake. Plan is to finish coming around the lake and start climbing up. We'll be other side this little ridge right here, and we're going to climb up, and we're going to cross over this ridge here. This is the Black Buttes. Going to cross over, drop down the other side, and that's where Glacier Lake is. It's a popular place for hiking from the Grouse Ridge area. near the campground. Well, I made it to the top. It's a little windy. I used a little different route than I was planning on. The route I was planning on would have brought me up right over there. Probably would have been easier if I could get over to it without dealing with a lot of brush. But what I was shooting for is getting up to the top, coming down at Glacier Lake. And there it is. It looks like I can find a dry enough spot to camp at tonight down there. So I'm looking forward to some rest and food. I've made it down to Glacier Lake. It's really kind of tucked up next to the Black Buttes, and it's a very cold lake. Even in the summer, it remains cold. And I'm going to show you what it looks like now. Here's the Black Butte. It's one of the Black Buttes. That's the slope I descended. And here's the lake. Still pretty icy. Although there is some open water on it. Well, there's my first cup of coffee of the day. Well, I'm still alive, day 3. As I suspected, there's quite a bit of snow on this side of the ridge, so you know, it's gotten windy, cold, overcast. It's about 35, 36 degrees. Well, the Glacier Lake Trail actually is over there, and it's all obscured with snow. So my plan now is to hike down this way over there, and we should be able to locate the Sand Ridge Trail. And there's my camp. It was pretty nice last night. The advantage of the wind and cold and snowing where I am is there's a lack of mosquitoes, which is nice. They can be quite unpleasant. Well, camp is almost picked up. My pack's almost loaded. It's been drizzling on and off with a little bit of snow. I came prepared for such conditions, so it's not that big a deal. It actually makes for some cooler, interesting hiking. The first day was actually almost too warm for me. So right now the wind stopped, so I took the opportunity to do a little filming. So yeah, next time we talk, I'll probably be on the trail. This is the Glacier Lake Trail. I had spotted the trail and abandoned the search for the Sand Ridge Trail. It's pretty easy to follow. Some tree falls made difficult, snow is made difficult, but it's pretty easy to navigate because in general it follows this little stream here that's currently on my left as I'm heading out. So I have to keep my camera in because it's still raining and it's not waterproof. Now I hit the junction of the trail that comes down from Grouse Ridge Campground, and this is Beyers Lake Trail. Goes from Blue Lakes to Beyers. And we're going to take a left here, and we're going to go back to the trail junction that we came up onto yesterday. This is, I believe it's Canyon Creek. We crossed this yesterday down near Fordyce Creek, down lower. We'll cross that again. We need to cross it right now. It's amazing this is totally dry during the summer. So I'm debating whether or not to even bother putting on wading shoes. My feet have finally gotten wet. So I think right now I'm going to eat some lunch and warm up. Here I am at the junction of the trail that comes up from Spaulding Lake Trail to Beyers Lakes Trail. We were here yesterday. It was sunny and beautiful. Today it's just kind of cloudy and drizzly, and I'm pretty wet, but I'm not uncomfortable. But I think I'm going to attempt to hike out today. It's either that or get down to Fordyce Creek and set up camp and lay around in the tent and do nothing. I just going to keep hiking. Well, I've just crossed Canyon Creek again. So now that I've dropped down to lower elevation, it's no longer raining. It's quite pleasant, but everything's still pretty damp. Since it's only about 3.5 to 4 miles to the car, I think I'm going to just make a leisurely stroll out.